Dr. Grove Higgins here with Neuroathlete. As promised again, I was going to show you more augmentations to my shoes that makes them a better foot performance platform for myself. Again, this is the Zero Prio shoe, and today I'm going to show you a new lacing system that I've been using for my shoe. Again, a minimalist shoe is really useful if you're trying to get not only reducing the amount of cushioning between your foot and the ground, but then also if you're trying to improve the movement of your foot. So one of the things that I don't like about shoes in general is how they restrict the forefoot. My forefoot is very sensitive. My foot really has grown to like having the ability to expand out when I push down, and I'll show you what that looks like. And so when most shoes have too much structure on the side, whether it's because the sole is built up, or in this case because the laces are the way that they are, that can restrict how the foot is expanding. Now, the thing I like about Zero shoes is that the forefoot is really left unaugmented, but even this little bit of strapping here to help give a little bit of compression across the transverse arch, or that arch that you commonly see through the middle of your foot, it can sometimes be too much for me. And so just so you can see, and I'll show you what it looks like on my foot. When I want to expand my foot, there's only so much that these laces are going to give, right? They're hard, they are very high tensile strength, they're not going to break, they're definitely not going to stretch, and so I'm not getting much more in the way of expansion as my foot is pushing on the ground and spreading out like it would normally. If you ever look at your footprint in the sand, that's what you're seeing, is the foot is hitting the ground and then spreading out if it's flexible enough in the forefoot. And the other thing that I always want to have is a high amount of mobility through that forefoot for when I am doing performance things. I have done martial arts in the past, and so being able to transfer energy to the ball of my foot and being able to pivot off of it is important, and not having extra pull or aberrant pulls from other directions is important to me. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the Xtenex lacing solution here. This is the XH200 laces. All that means is that it's a certain level of performance. This is the 30-inch, which is going to allow me to lace through all of these holes and still have enough to play with. There's different lengths, as you can see, and there are different types of laces for different types of use. More athletic, more controlled, and then they have a lot of other solutions for healthcare settings, for mental health care settings, for rigging for individuals like soldiers or police in order to help them put on things on their persons, or for individuals who are camping. They have a lot of different uses, industrial, athletic, and in my case, clinical. So we're going to take a look at these. So so that way you can get an idea of why this is important to me, is take a look at the skeleton without anything getting in the way of you being able to see how the foot works, these joints work. So between all of the bones of the foot and the ankle, there's 33 joints. And these joints, when a joint is moving, it's sending information into the nervous system that tells the body where it is in time and space. That's called proprioception. So then when your toe is up, you know it's up. When it's down, it's down. When my thumb is up and I can close my eyes, I know it's up, I know it's down. So that's positional information, that's proprioception, and it's by and large coming from the movement of the joints and other soft tissues, the ligaments, the capsule that encapsulates each of these joints, and the tendons and other soft tissues here. So when you're looking at your foot, and this would be your big toe of the left foot in this case, this is your longitudinal arch, and this is the transverse arch. And this is a really important arch because the movement right through here really defines how the foot is going to work as you're going to go walk and you go to push off and you're absorbing shock and trying to generate power for running and doing other things. So looking at this from the standpoint of what I'm most interested in is preserving as much motion through the foot as possible and making sure all 33 of these joints are moving as optimally as possible. So when I go to toe off, the foot is pushing down and there's an expansion of the foot that should occur. It shouldn't be uncontrolled, and the arch gets this little bit of pronation where the longitudinal arch flattens out essentially. Everybody's foot does this. But even people that have quote unquote flat feet have dynamic arches where the arch is still doing its job, and as you go push off, the arch forms and it gives you more leverage and it helps to absorb shock and such like that. So when I go to transfer my weight from my heel, when my heel strikes when I'm walking, to rolling through to the toes, the foot needs to flatten out. And so you can see how that fifth toe, the fifth metatarsal there, spreads out to the side. So my foot might start out like this, but as I'm transferring my weight and grounding myself, the foot wants to expand. If we're using traditional lacing systems, it tends to grab around the forefoot and restrict the forefoot, and most shoes do the same thing because of both the structure, the fact that they put something under the arch and prevent this motion from happening, or the lacing is such that it binds the forefoot. Some of the most popular minimalist platforms do that quite aggressively, and for myself that creates discomfort along this side of my foot and to the point that I can't wear a lot of shoes that do that. So the zero shoe with the laces in, this is how it performs. So here's my foot in the normal diameter, and when I push down into the shoe and put my weight towards the ball of my foot, I only get a minimal amount of expansion on the sides. And it's these straps on either side that are somewhat restricting it. If I was to pull it really tight, it would restrict it even more. And I don't want that. And the other thing I want is as I'm moving, I don't want any compression across my forefoot. So between my squatting, as well as my walking and other movements, I want maximal amounts of movements and even expanding back here across the bones of the foot itself versus just the long bones here. So looking at how the shoe performs without a lace, so here you can just see the form factor with the laces in on my left foot versus the right foot. It's expanded out. It's automatically giving my foot room to expand. And so then if I put my weight through the forefoot, it has the ability to push out to the sides. And especially when I am pushing my weight forward through the ball of my foot, it really has the ability to expand even more. Now, zero shoes give me a lot of flexibility in this, and I do like having the reassurance of some compression across the top of my foot. In fact, I think it enhances how my brain can see the foot. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna lace the shoe with the Xtenex Laces and see how it performs. So now we're taking a look directly at the Xtenex Laces. It comes pretty nicely packaged and such. Ordering them online is easy. We carry them here in the clinic for our clients, and as you can see, it is in a fairly heavy-duty packaging, which we're going to end up using a scissors for to open. So now we're going to lace this and see how it performs. So I'm going to set the shoe to the side a little bit. There we go. All right, so to start with, we're gonna even up the laces because we wanna get the middle lacing right in the middle of the forefoot laces eyelets up front here. So I've got this set up, and we'll of course, we'll pull it evenly as we go. So interesting thing with these laces is that they go in very easy, but the first time you put them in, this is the hard part. Once you get it in and you get the tension set, you really never have to think about the lacing ever again. So as you're pulling it through, you can see there's some resistance. what they instruct on doing is giving some pull here, and then it will go through the eyelets much easier.
Same thing on the other side, and then we'll pull them evenly.
Okay, so now I'm going to pull these all the way through so that this is set right in the middle. Okay, so at this point, I've got a lot of extra on my instep lace versus the lateral lace, so I'm going to correct by pulling some through and get it a little bit closer. And now I'm going to just pull my extra slack through this side. Okay, so now I have some tension here, which I can go back and adjust as I see fit. So I'm going to lace up the rest of this. I've got a unique situation with the Zero shoes. You've got eyelets, and then you've got these straps here that you have to go through. Okay? Interesting thing that they do with these laces is that you don't need to have lots of extra, because once you set the tension, you're never going to have to tie again. So they include, if you want, they'll send you these little discs that allow you to pull your lacing through and then basically set it and forget it. So we'll pull those through on one or two of the knots. Okay, and we're ready to set the rest of it. You can get longer lace. I chose to do the 30-inch lace. You could do a 40-inch lace and tie a bow if that makes you feel good. I don't care, and I'm going to tuck these into the lacing here in a second. So now I'm going to set my tension on these laces. I like to have more tension around the back of the foot, so it's pulling from the heel more versus in the front of the foot. So now we're going to actually put them on and set the tension. So now we're gonna set the tension on the laces. And so I'm going to, right now, I don't need to untie it or anything. It will expand and accommodate my foot coming through the opening of the shoe. Okay, so right now I can tell you that I've got probably a little bit more tension across here than I'd like. And so to set that tension, I'm just gonna pull some of the extra knots through the holes here. Right? I could take it off, but I don't really need to in order to get that tension to come through. Okay, so I got a little bit extra. It didn't need a lot, right? And now I'm going to just work the tension through the rest of the system here. As time goes on, the tension will pull a lot of this extra slack out of the system in order to make it a little bit more even looking. Otherwise, it really doesn't matter a whole lot. I don't want a lot of tension through here, but right now my foot feels about as secure and maybe even a little bit more secure around here than this side does. So what does this look like in performance? So as I'm standing here, I'm just gonna put weight towards the ball of my foot. All right? And you can see that I'm getting more flex or more slack out of the strap on the inside of my foot, on the right versus on the left. All right? And when I really put weight towards the ball of my foot, I can feel that expanding across the arch of my foot through the top of my foot here. Whereas over here, I'm not getting any of that because the lace is just, it's not a non-elastic lace, whereas this elasticity is great. Now I can change this dynamically. I can increase or decrease the tension as time goes on if I feel like I need it, or if I'm doing something where I feel like I want more aggressiveness. But I haven't given myself a lot of extra slack, which I could, but here's the part that I love. I can now tuck these in. They're out of the way. They look relatively good. I can slide the shoe on and off. And now I have a slip-on shoe with good tension and wonderful performance. It feels like a glove. So what this does for me, again, is it allows me to take advantage of the minimalist shoe, the barefoot shoe environment, and allow more of my joints to move more freely than they would with the non-elastic lace, and get tension where I really like it, which is right around here without getting tension in the forefoot. So there you go. There's the Xtenex Laces in the Zero shoe, and we have a nice flexible platform for your feet to move and to get better proprioception. So this is my optimal proprioceptive augmentation to the shoe itself versus doing any other things like putting an insole in. However, I'll go one step further and I'll definitely go for the insole in the next video. But consider the Xtenex Laces as a great augmentation of any shoe platform. Even in a structured shoe, it will add performance to that shoe that allows you to get better movement from even a highly structured shoe and allow you to still benefit from the shoe's structure, the stability that that shoe will give. So consider the Xtenex Laces as a great augmentation to getting better performance out of your shoes.